What's up, good people, and welcome back to another episode of Fearless Theory, where I'll be teaching you how to become a fearless music theory expert. My name is Joe Valdez. I am one of the teachers here at the San Jose Academy of Music, here in glorious, sunny San Jose, California. Let's get started. So, in the last episode, we actually covered a ton of material. We talked about the different C's you can play on the piano. There are 8 of them total. We also talked about C4, which has another name, middle C. This is a very important note, and that is why it is important that we know how to find C4, or middle C. Finally, we talked about how to play the major scale, and how to read and write the major scale, starting on C4 and going up to C5. If you have any questions about these topics that I'm talking about, do have a look at the previous episodes of Fearless Theory. Having a good grasp of the previous episodes will help in understanding what we're going to talk about today. Today's video is also about playing the major scale, but we're not going to be starting on C4. Instead, we're going to be starting on C3. So I'm going to show you how to play the notes from C3 to C4, and then I'm also going to be showing you how to read and write the notes from C3 to C4. As you may recall, C3 is the third C, coming from the left, counting the C's of the piano. Learning how to play the notes from C3 to C4 will require us to know the name of a new clef, namely the F clef or the bass clef. So far in our musical journey, we've only learned the name of one clef, which is the G clef. Today we're going to talk about the importance of the clef and what the clef does to the rest of the 5 lines and 4 spaces that we now know is called a musical staff. Hey guys, so here we have the staff again, but something's a little different about this staff, especially in comparison to the staff that we had in episode 3. There was a different symbol at the beginning of the staff in episode 3. That symbol was called a G clef. This one is called an F clef, or a bass clef. This symbol at the beginning of the staff affects the notes represented by the 5 lines and 4 spaces of the staff. As we will see in a bit, middle C is not going to be down here on a ledger line down here as it was back in episode 3. Going back to being able to play a C major scale off of C3 with this symbol at the beginning of the staff, that means C3 is here. Right here in this space, the second space from the bottom. This would be C3. Right? So if C3 is there, that means the line right above the staff would be D. The next space would be E. The next space would be F. G. A. B. And as you may already know, when we get to our top note, it is another C. And if our first C was C3, that means that our top note has to be C4. Back in episode 3, this was our first note at the bottom of the scale. Now it's our top note. It's the highest note in this version of the C major scale. And so we see how the clef affects the notes represented by the 5 lines and 4 spaces of the staff. So once again, this is a C major scale starting on C3. So we have C3, D, E, F, G, A, B, and finally we get to our top note, which is C, specifically C4. Our top note is now middle C. And this is how you play a C major scale on the bass clef. Hey guys, here we have 2 staves now, and the one I'm circling with my mouse is called a G clef, as you may recall from episode 3. And the one we learned today was called an F clef. Right now you are looking at 2 C major scales, the one from C3 to C4, and one from C4 to C5. And it sounds like this. As you may notice, C4, middle C, is right in the middle of both of these scales. In fact, let me do a really quick edit for you. These two they sound the same. Why? They are both middle C. They are both C4. This just emphasizes my point even more that C4 is in the middle of these 2 scales. It's in the middle of the piano. And so knowing the middle of the piano and working your way outwards throughout the rest of the piano, that's an important thing to learn how to do, especially as we learn more about music theory in the upcoming episodes. Let me play what this scale sounds like now. You're going to hear C4 2 times in a row. You're going to hear middle C 2 times in a row. And we're at C5. Why else is this important? We're going to need to learn how to play these particular notes for the next few episodes, especially if we're going to look into more intervals, more into something called harmony, melody, how these things work together. We're going to need to know how to read and write these particular notes from these 2 scales. So again, you've been hearing the major scale, C major scale from C3 to C4, and the C major scale from C4 to C5. Knowing these 2 C major scales will be very, very important for the next few episodes to come, knowing how these 2 work. And so there you have it. 2 C major scales, C3 to C5, with middle C in between them. And so, there you have it, folks. We now know how to read, write, and play all the different notes surrounding middle C or C4. This is a very important skill to know how to do as you go along on your music theory journey. My name is Joe Valdez. Again, I'm one of the teachers here at the San Jose Academy of Music. I've been filming here in my glorious, glorious studio, and I hope to see you coming through that door one of these days, checking out our school, asking for a trial lesson, hopefully, and I hope to see you around. And I hope to definitely see you around in the next episode of Fearless Theory. And remember, till then, to be fearless.